Welcome to Oh Hell No with Nicole.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Oh Hell No. Today we have KJ Miller and Amanda Johnson. They are the founders and owners of Mented Cosmetics, and today I'm going to find out all about their cosmetics line and get to know these ladies. So, welcome ladies. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi Nicole,
Thank you.
thanks for having us.
Yes, I'm so excited. So, let me start by asking you guys, how long have you two known each other? And KJ, you can start.
Sure. Yeah. So Amanda and I have known each other now for over 5 years. We met in business school, Harvard Business School, where we both started in 2012. And we actually met at the HBS show, which was sort of the variety show where I was in the show sort of singing and dancing, and Amanda was running costumes, and we clicked right away.
Awesome. So before business school, Amanda, what did you go to school for? What was your major in undergrad?
Yeah, so undergrad, I went to Howard University, graduated in 2008, and I was a finance major. So I didn't quite know what I wanted to do, but I was good with numbers and models. And so post undergrad, I went into investment banking.
Wow.
Oh.
That's awesome. So, KJ, what was your major?
So my major was philosophy. So a bit more ethereal than Amanda's numbers-based finance background. But yeah, post-school, I went into retail. So I was a buyer for most of my career prior to Mented.
Oh my God, that's so interesting as well. Did you buy, was it just clothing or jewelry, or what kind of stuff?
That's so funny that you say clothing and jewelry, because those were my two areas. So I spent 2 years buying fashion jewelry and then a few years buying women's apparel.
Wow. I always wondered what the life of a buyer is like. Was it exciting?
At times, yes. And I loved all the samples. I amassed a lot of jewelry and clothes, which was nice.
I'm sure. So, this idea, from what I read, came about over the lack of nude lipsticks on the market for brown girls, right? I'm a dark-skinned woman, so I totally understand this 100%. So, what was the first step that you guys took to bring this idea to fruition?
So the light bulb moment really happened for KJ and I with Mented. One night over wine, we were talking about life hacks and beauty hacks, and you know how most women's conversations go. It eventually went into what's in your cosmetics bag. What are you trying and doing lately? And so I said something to KJ like, I've been looking for the perfect new lip for like 3 years. And she was like, oh my God, me too. And in fact, there are no real lipsticks out on the market that I wear. And so that for us was the moment that it clicked, that said, okay, let's pursue this idea. We're both beauty enthusiasts, so there was passion for this idea right away. And so we went to the Sephora's and the Macy's and the Dwayne Reeds of the world trying to search for this, perfect new lipstick for a woman of color, and we came up short. And so we also asked ourselves, is this problem bigger than us? We surveyed friends and family, and what we came up with is that not only was the beauty industry not truly creating products for women of color, but they were also not really focusing on us in their messaging or in their community building. And we so often felt like afterthoughts. And we just felt like that was so inappropriate for an industry where our dollars are just as green. And at the end of the day, it's supposed to make you feel beautiful, not like an other. So our immediate steps after that, like kind of first round of research, was to get a broader idea of the industry, how large was the industry? How large was the demand for women of color? What products were people putting out there? How could we really make an impact, and what was the white space? And so KJ and I, being a consultant and an investment banker, really, parallel tracked and structured out how we wanted to think about this problem and how we wanted to solve it. And so for a year and a half, we were very diligent and organized with kind of breaking up the different pieces of the business idea and coming back together with our data and our research and saying, this is the way we could form a company that could truly be different.
Wow. So because you're the investment banker and KJ was, doing the buying, in the retail world, how did you guys divvy up the responsibilities that you would soon come to be with your company? What did you assign KJ, and what did you say that you would take on?
Sure. So this is KJ. So yeah, Amanda and I really tried to be really thoughtful about how we divvied up responsibilities. So, my career has been in retail operations, both as a buyer and eventually as a retail consultant. So I head up our operations and product development primarily, whereas Amanda's career has really, she's been able to dive really deeply into marketing post her investment banking life. She was doing marketing at Time and also business development at Barney's. So she's really been heading up our marketing and digital experience. And then on the back end, she heads up finance, where I run our fundraising activities. So we've tried to really cater what we do with Mented to our strengths. And it's been really important to us because, we are co-founders and also co-CEOs. And so that only really works if you have a clear delineated role in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that Amanda has that finance brain, that is amazing, because you don't have to worry about your coins, because Amanda's got it. So I love that.
It's funny. It's funny. You would think that, but the reality is, no matter what, if you are a startup founder, you have to be in the numbers. And so I would love it if I didn't have to dig into our numbers every month, but I do, because it's just as much my baby as Amanda's. And there's not a startup founder on the planet who would be like, oh, who cares? You got it. You do the budgeting. No, every single dollar. We are both watching a hawk.
No, but what I mean when I say that is that you don't really have to hire someone outside to come in. You know what I mean? You might want to as you expand and get bigger, but the fact that you could start off and she kind of could set things up, and then of course, definitely you want to go through it as well, because you don't want to be a dummy, right? You want to make sure you're on it too. But it's just good that you don't have to bring in this third person to tell you about your finances, because she can kind of say, okay, this is how we need to set this up. That's what I meant. But yeah, absolutely. I don't want to send the wrong message to people don't worry about your money. If someone else can do it, I think you're right. You both have to be on it. That's absolutely true. So how much of your own money did you guys invest into the business, if you don't mind sharing? You don't have to give us exact numbers, and that could be anyone that you want to answer the question. KJ, Amanda?
So this is Amanda. Prior to launching, when KJ and I were both working our full-time jobs, we started off by making handmade samples of our lipstick. We went to the manufacturers and they didn't quite understand what we were trying to create and how that was different. So we said, okay, this is for us and truly by us. We'll figure it out ourselves. So we learned how to make lipsticks, bought the colorants, the dyes, the molds, the wax, everything, and would get together on the weekends and create these handmade samples. So all of our own dollars for the year and a half before we launched went into creating this prototype and testing it and recreating it over and over again. Our money also went into, the first versions of the website, where we just had a landing page where you could put an email. So we did invest quite a lot of money in the upfront, because we had this physical product where we needed to have multiple prototypes, obviously of every shade, and we had to give it out to review and to focus group with it. And so I just think that's something that's probably and certainly different for entrepreneurs that have a physical product. The amount of money that you will put in up front just to get to your kind of great prototype will differ, but it is a investment.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you find it difficult to find places to make the lipstick and stuff like that, or to get the ingredients and things? Like, what was your resource for that? Did you just Google?
Yeah. Yeah, Google really does come in handy. I will say, I remember in the beginning when we were thinking about, and this is KJ, by the way, we were thinking about working with the manufacturer, and what we heard was so many of these guys really didn't understand the idea. They were like, oh, nude lipstick, we have that, so just get some of our stock shades and then you can tweak them. But the reality is we didn't trust their stock shades, and we didn't want to have to buy thousands of them, sort of sight unseen, and then try to tweak them, and it just wouldn't make sense. And so we did go to Google, and we went to YouTube, and we, researched what are the ingredients that we need and what are the supplies that we need and all of those sorts of things. And we purchased plenty of things that we ended up not using, plenty of colors that we thought would look great with the lipstick, or that we would absolutely need to create this line of nudes. And then we start using them and trying them, and it turns out, it was a bust. So there was certainly waste along the way. I can't say every tool we purchased or every colorant that we bought, ended up getting used. A lot of them didn't, but you have to sort of give yourself some cushion and know that there will be some trial and error.
Absolutely. So your products are vegan, paraben free, non-toxic. Is it really expensive to get all these ingredients together to make a product like this? And is it difficult to find the ingredients? And that could be Amanda, KJ, whoever wants to take that one.
Yeah, so this is Amanda. When we were first creating the prototypes in our apartments on the weekend, we were really just optimizing for shade. We wanted to make sure that we were creating the best line of nude lipsticks for women of color. And like KJ said, it was a bunch of trial and error, and we'd have our friends come, Hispanic friends, Indian friends, Black friends of all hues. And so we were constantly kind of tweaking and playing with those shades and really making sure that we had a range that was pigmented enough. Mm-hmm. When we took our prototypes to our official manufacturer, which we have now, that's when we kind of set the stage for what's going to be Mented's ingredient story, right? Like, what are we going to be known for? All the things you listed: vegan, paraben-free, non-toxic, cruelty-free, made in the U.S. All of those things became really important to us when we had the right prototype. We knew our audience, and we said, what type of brand do we want to deliver? So are some of those products more expensive than some, toxic synthetic versions of stuff? Sure. But for us, it mattered. And KJ and I have always said, not only are we the owners, but we're the customer. So we would never make something just for the sake of making it. We want to solve real problems, and we want to make great products for ourselves, our families, and our friends. And so for us, it matters. And cost aside, we just want to make great products, and we feel like our brand story creates great products.
Yes, absolutely. So what was the biggest hurdle that you guys faced when you started this line? Are there any hurdles that you can remember or that were really difficult?
Yeah, for sure. So this is KJ. I'll start by saying, there were plenty of hurdles. I think one of the biggest hurdles is just fear, right? And doubt, and that you are the right person to do this. And I remember during one of our early conversations, when we were trying to figure out, can we do this? Should we do this? I mean, there are so many makeup brands out there, so many big billion-dollar makeup brands out there. Like, are we going to be the ones who make this happen? And I remember saying to Amanda, why not us? Why can't it be us? All of these brands have had all of this time and all of these billions of dollars to spend, and yet here we are still sitting here feeling like afterthoughts in this industry. So why not the two of us? And I think that really was one hurdle for us to jump over, but we did, and I think it was because we were able to lean on each other that we found the strength and sort of support we needed to keep going, and that sort of strength and support would be something that we would continue to rely on. I know maybe a few months later, we were both so just like, I remember like just really, really caught up in our jobs. So I, at this point, was in retail consulting. So I was traveling all of the time. Amanda was just like knee deep in her job at Barney's. And it just felt impossible to find time. And I remember I sent an email to her and I said, look, I still want to do this if you do, but if I'm holding you up, if you're ready to run with this, and I know I'm swamped right now traveling every day, like, then you run with it because I don't want to hold you back. And I remember her emailing me back and saying, no, I'm right there with you. Like, and I don't want to do this without you. And so I think throughout this process, one of the biggest hurdles has sort of been this doubt, like, are we the right people to do it? Can we do it? Do we have the wherewithal and time? And again, we've had to lean on each other and support one another and say, we are the right people to do this and we are going to do it together, which has just, I think, been so powerful to have a partnership like that.
Yes, I really, that is amazing, because I think that's everybody's big issue, is doubt, not feeling like maybe you can't do it, maybe it's not for you, maybe you shouldn't. So I love that you guys support each other like that. When you first started, what was the first item, or what were the first items? Was it 2 lipsticks? Was it 1?
So this is Amanda. When we launched in January of this year, we launched with 6 nude and neutral lipsticks. And what's funny is I vividly remember when the first time we sat down to make lipsticks, we said, okay, let's make our perfect nude. And so KJ's undertones and coloring are slightly different than my own, and our lip shades are slightly different as well. So even the first 2 shades we came up with, which happened to be our number 1 and number 2 still shades to this day, Dope Taupe and Mented number 5, were truly born out of our own need and our own perfect lipsticks and perfect nude lipsticks. So from there, we expanded because we knew there were other colors that we absolutely wanted in the line, but we also wanted a lot of great feedback from women of color. So when we started, we went from 2 shades to quickly maybe 4 or 5 shades, and then invited women to come and test them. And so big ups to our friends who were willing to be guinea pigs and came in, light skin friends, dark skin friends, different undertones, and tried on the lipsticks. And from there, we kept tweaking the line till we got to the 6 shades that we launched with.
Nice. So now that you guys are off and running, do you still use your friends to test new products or new ideas?
Absolutely.
We do, yeah. But we also have graduated to doing like, legitimate focus groups as well. So we're not always having to call on our friends, but it's fun. And like a lot of our friends now are always sort of bugging us because they want to be included.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, what are you working on? Like, I'd love to come be in a focus group. And we're like, yeah, we'll keep you posted. We'll let you know.
Absolutely. That must be so much fun having friends that, make makeup or, make lipsticks and stuff. I mean, absolutely. So do you guys have any plans to add makeup, like, foundations, blushes, eye stuff, eyeshadows? Any plans for that?
Totally. And we try to keep a fairly tight lid on what's in the works exactly.
Yeah.
But we absolutely have always said Mented is a full-fledged makeup brand with products in every major category, and we intend to hold true to that. And so we've got a lot of exciting products in the works.
That's amazing. I can't wait. So how do you guys feel about all these makeup lines being launched? Like, you got the Rihanna with the Fenty, and you got the Kylie's and the Kim's, and everybody's doing makeup. When you see someone launch something new, do you guys go and check the makeup out? Do you draw any inspiration from it? How does it feel for you guys? Because you're in the business now. So what does that feel like?
Yeah, it feels kind of exciting, particularly when it's people that you've always loved. So like we both are fangirls when it comes to Rihanna. We both went out and purchased a bunch of Fenty Beauty. And there are things in her line that we both really like and think she did really well. There are things in her line that we think maybe need some tweaking, which is the case with just about every makeup line out there.
Yes.
And in her case specifically, in Rihanna's case specifically, we love that same message that she's put out there that we have been putting out since we launched in January, which is that diversity in beauty matters. And you should not be treating any woman of any hue as an afterthought. So we love that that's the message she's pushing. I will say on a personal note, one of the great things about whenever a new brand comes out is that it's a business expense for us to buy it and try it.
Right.
So that's always cool. But yeah, we love when there are brands that are speaking to women of color and prioritizing us. So we for sure always try to at least try those brands. And one thing we're also big about is we don't trash talk other brands,
right.
Like whether we like them or not. We don't get online and say like, oh no, this brand is nonsense, don't buy it, because we are part of the industry now. And we just think, there's nothing good really comes of that. We don't have to try and knock another brand down in order to build ourselves up.
Exactly. Classy ladies. I love it. So I love that you guys post pictures of your customers under, the story page that you guys have, because people get to see how these colors look on all different types of skin, right? So who came up with this, and what was the vision for this when you guys were discussing it, and how do you want it to evolve?
I'll take this. This is Amanda. So really everything you see is the brainchild of KJ and I. We had have such a clear vision for where we see Mented today and where we want Mented to be 5-10 years from now, and we're excited on the journey, and there's so many pieces involved in that, and your story page is evidence and a piece of that, which is from the beginning KJ and I said we're not just about creating great products. Absolutely, we are going to do that, but we also want to create a engaging and inviting diverse community around the idea of Mented. And so one of the pieces of that is the Your Story page, or if you look at our Facebook or our Instagram, and we're constantly reposting and retweeting all of that great user-generated content. It's because, women of color have not been celebrated in a million different ways over the years. And Mented wants to be different. We want to celebrate our community. And so in lots of different ways, we are all about highlighting the women in our community, how they're so creative and interesting with how they use the products. We love showing off our products on a wide range of hues so people can truly understand the versatility of it. And if you're light skin, dark skin, blue undertone, yellow undertone, there is something there for you. And you can finally look to a beauty brand to say, hey, that's me. Like, I see myself. And that was really important to us.
Yeah, I love that. What do you two disagree about the most, if anything?
That's a good question.
Yeah, no one's ever asked us that.
I'm trying to think about it, because I don't know if there's like a specific topic we end up disagreeing about the most. But we certainly disagree. I just don't know if there's like one thing where we end up disagreeing the most. What do you think, Amanda?
Yeah, that's a really good. I'm thinking the same thing. I mean, obviously along the way with creating a business, there are a bajillion different decisions you're making all the time, and you have to align on that vision in every way, from the smallest detail to the biggest thing. And so obviously we're two different people, and along the way we disagreed over things, but come to an ultimate conclusion. But I agree with KJ that I don't know that it's any specific topic or thing.
You know what? I'll say this. You can tell me if you think this is true, Amanda. I think more than it being any one topic, it's that Amanda and I have two different personalities, right? But two different ways of approaching decision making sometimes. I think, generally speaking, Amanda is a bit more detailed than I am and detail oriented than I am, and a bit more data based than I am. I think I tend to be more, big picture a bit, or that might not be the right word, but I really like to think, like, take a step back and say, like, well, let me just think, what do I feel in my gut, as opposed to like trying to track down each sort of infinite piece of a decision, which I think is good. I think that means you have two people thinking about really big things in two different ways. But I do think sometimes that means, I might get to a decision more quickly on something than Amanda, where she's still thinking through, well, what are the implications of this, or do we have enough data for that? And I think that is where sometimes we differ. But I also think that is why we end up being such a good team because, you know, there are times when you need to make a decision quickly based on your gut, and there are times when you really need to take more time, gather more data, and really think more deeply before you sort of dive into something big. So that's more of the difference I would see, more than like a particular topic. But I don't know. Is that fair, Amanda?
Yeah, I think that's fair. And honestly, it's what's interesting is KJ and I say this all the time as we meet other founders of startups, like, it must be incredibly difficult to do this on your own. Like, just like we said, there are a million decisions and there's so many ways that you can come to a conclusion or think through situations and data. And like, how blessed are we that we have these different approaches that ultimately create the best solution. And it must just be, I mean, I can't even imagine doing it alone. So.
Yeah, I love that you guys are so balanced with each other and how you do it, because, you know, it's not easy to work closely with someone, especially sometimes two women, or, you know, even a man and a woman, because that can be a nightmare too. But, you know, it's great that you guys are so balanced. It seems like you really balance each other out, and you know how Amanda knows how KJ works and KJ knows how Amanda works, and you guys just make it work. I love that. What are you two most proud of with where you are today?
This is Amanda. So I'll say one of the things that I love, I can't get enough of, is when I look at, you know, one of our social platforms. So when I look at our Instagram or our Facebook and I see the comments under an image or a video or an article, and women are tagging other women and saying, oh my God, I found my perfect nude. You have to try this too. And it's a proud moment because it speaks to the work that KJ and I have put into the brand, into the product, and into the community that we're building. And other people are taking on the Mented identity, saying that they are now the Mented girl and wanting to share that with other people. It is absolutely a source of pride and something I just love seeing over and over again.
KJ?
Yeah, I am continually proud of the people we've been able to bring along with us on this journey and how many people of color we've been able to bring on this journey. So I think about the fact that our first two employees are women of color. Our PR agency is run by a woman of color, and she hires, as far as I know, all women of color. Our fulfillment center is run by women of color. Our developer is a man of color. Our manufacturer is run by it's a family business, people of color. I mean, so just along the way, we are spreading the wealth. We are, you know, giving jobs and opportunities and projects to more people of color. And every single time that we do that, I am just ecstatic because this thing is bigger than me and Amanda, and it just feels so good. Not to mention, I didn't even mention all the models that we've hired who are working models of color, and it's so exciting. We have about 20 of them coming to our office on Thursday for another project we're working on, and it's just, I love it. I love it, and it makes me really, really proud.
Yeah, that is really amazing. So, okay, I always ask this question. So, when you guys first had this plan and you thought it out, has anything about it exceeded what you guys imagined? Or did it come out the way?
Everything about
it. Really? I love to hear that. I love it.
Everything about it has exceeded our expectations. I mean, from not just from a sales perspective, although certainly we have far surpassed what we thought we would do in revenue for our first year. Mm-hmm. We have surpassed what we thought we'd be able to do from a team perspective in terms of who we've been able to hire. And, you know, just the fact that we are now in 3 different product categories and, you know, we were as of our 9th month of business, you know, we planned out our roadmap, but always when you plan out your roadmap, you understand that those things are constrained by capital. So we had the resources to be able to actually follow through with our product development roadmap. I mean, it's been just about everything has exceeded expectations.
Yeah, this is Amanda. I'll also add in the press. it has been amazing to see how many publications have latched onto our story and are excited for what we're doing and are covering each and every product launch. So many startups launch, and maybe for that first month they'll get 4 or 5 press features, and then maybe not you hear from them ever again. But the fact that the press has loved what we're doing and they've been encouraging us and they followed us throughout the year, and we've been featured in over 40 plus press publications. We've been on live TV in Chicago and live TV on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. I mean, so many moments that we could see for ourselves ultimately in the picture, but the fact that they've all happened and so many have happened this year has just been incredible.
Yeah, that is beautiful. I love it. So, do you guys feel like you're living in your purpose?
Yes, 100%. 100%. And one thing I didn't mention about my career past is that I have attempted to launch startups in the past, and and I did launch them, but never felt strongly enough, passionate enough about them to actually go full time on them. They were always sort of these side hustle projects, which, there's absolutely no shade in doing a side hustle, but I think I always wanted entrepreneurship to be, a part of my journey, and I've known that for the better part of 10 years. So I absolutely feel as though I'm walking in my purpose, and it is just such a blessing, and I feel so lucky. I know a lot of people don't get that. So every day that I wake up and get to work on Mented is truly a blessing.
Yes. What about you, Amanda?
Absolutely. I totally agree. I have certainly changed the professional vision I had for myself over the years, but I think in the best of ways. My mom always reminds me that I should be following my passion, and my goal should just be to continue to learn. And the fact that I get to live that life is amazing. I've had so many different jobs in different industries, and it's all been because those are the things that I wanted to do and I wanted to pursue, and they have absolutely all led to this moment. And I just think about how many people don't have that option, and they go to jobs that they don't really want to be at, and they just have to do it to pay the bills every day. And to think that I get to live the life that I want in the purpose that I feel God has made for me is just awesome.
Yes, that is exactly why I do this podcast, because I love to hear how these things connect and how people end up living in their purpose and being so excited and so happy about getting up every day and doing what they love. So you guys are amazing, and thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I do have another question for you guys, because this is the Oh Hell No podcast. So you each have to tell me an oh hell no moment that you have had as a result of something the other one was okay with, but you were not. And maybe they didn't know it at the time, but like, let's say you were in a meeting and Amanda says something, and KJ, in your head, you're like, oh hell no, wait until we get to the back room. So I want to know.
Because I thought you were going to say, oh, hell no moment just during the course of Mented. And I immediately had a story pop in my head, but it wasn't because of Amanda. So now trying to think. That's tough.
Well, if that one is more, if that's the one you want to share, that's fine. If you can't think of one that Amanda specifically, created for you.
Yeah, well, okay, so I'll tell this one, but Amanda, still feel free to tell one about me. But basically, so we have pitched to a ton of investors over the last year, and as nerve-wracking as it can be, one thing we have found is most investors are actually pretty nice, and it's because they have to be. This is a part of the game. They know they have to meet with entrepreneurs, they have to meet with founders, and even if they don't back a founder at some point, they might want to come back around and look at it again, invest later, or that founder might become the next Mark Zuckerberg, so you don't want to be the investor who pissed them off. Like, there are good reasons why, generally speaking, investors are nice. But Amanda and I met with this one investor early on who was so rude to us. she or he, this person, first of all, moved the meeting a quadrillion times. And then when we finally got to the place where we were supposed to meet, as soon as we sat down, there were no pleasantries. Typically, you start a meeting with, how are you? Hi, how do you know so-and-so? Because someone had connected us. Actually, another one of our investors had connected us. Like, tell me about your background, blah, blah, blah. None of that. This person immediately jumps in, like, rapid fire some questions. And 10 minutes later was like, okay, well, thank you. I'm not interested. And then turns back to their laptop, their iPad, starts, like, Facebooking. And just, like, summarily dismisses us, and we get up and leave. And that was not only the shortest meeting we have ever had, but also the rudest. And certainly in my mind, I thought to myself, oh, hell no. We did not just come down here. We trekked all the way down to like Midtown East, and like after the meeting had been moved 50 times in a day, and we were in traffic getting there and traffic getting back, and it just was terrible. And we were early on and feeling so vulnerable pitching to this person. So anyway, that was one of our oh hell no moments.
Yeah, that's a big one. Wow, but look at you now. It's all good.
It's Amanda. I have that oh hell no moment, but it's actually somewhat the inverse of what you asked. In this oh hell no moment, it was actually KJ sticking up for us and for me in particular. So I wasn't at this meeting, but KJ was meeting with an investor, and they were talking through the business plan, and they came up on digital marketing. And this investor wanted to know what were we doing on the paid marketing side, what was the strategy, and we do use the services in a certain capacity of a consultant who helps us on some paid digital marketing advertisements. And he's a white male. And KJ was telling the investor that we use this guy's services in a limited capacity, but we have had incredible results. Well, this guy immediately latches onto that and decides that obviously it must be because of this white guy that is helping us in this limited capacity. And it was actually KJ that was like, oh, hell no. Like, we are the ones coming up with this strategy. Amanda's doing a bunch of this execution. Like, give props where props are due.
Exactly.
And so shout out to KJ for that oh, hell no moment.
Awesome. So that's good. You guys are amazing. I love it. I love your story. I love everything that you guys are doing. And I am definitely going to get me some Mented. I wanted to get some before I did the interview, but then I was afraid that if I ordered it, it wouldn't come before or after. So I've been watching videos to see what shades I could get. But it's so confusing because they all look so nice.
You have to get them all.
I know.
Just get everyone.
I know. I was showing my girlfriend at my day job, and she was like, "Oh my God, I'm getting dope taupe," and I'm like, "Okay." So again, thank you guys for coming on the podcast and sharing your story with us. It's really inspiring, and I wish you guys much success.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.